So Broken Arrow's roadmap was revealed today, and they just had their best review day since the launch of the game. Here's the launch week, 74% positive, and it was basically all downhill from there until this week, which was 71% positive because of today and yesterday. But I guess this was hype for the roadmap. The roadmap literally just came out, so I'm not sure what's going on here. But as you can see, this is 71% positive, and they've not had that since the launch week. So the roadmap has been generally well received. I will cover it. It's quite surprising because if you go on the subreddit, there's a lot of people who are very negative about it. So here's a sort of a fake roadmap, right? Um, yeah, no fixes to ranked. It's all in your head. Game is not dead. It's all in your head. There's no cheaters. It's all in your head. Removal of Twitch chat. Anyway, I made my own prediction, and then I ended up being right. So this was my fan roadmap. So I said China will be added in 2027, and I was right. They're not adding China until 2027. So I was quite surprised by this, frankly, because I found the roadmap personally quite disappointing. But overall, it's been well received. 69% of people like it, apparently. And if you search by, just recent, you can see I like the game, I like the game, I like the game, I like the game. Some people don't like the game. Money laundered. Yeah, generally people are happy about the roadmap. They say FLX looks hot, interesting. So people generally like the roadmap, but you wouldn't get that from Reddit or my Discord for that matter. So we'll cover the roadmap and I'll walk you through it. Basically, these guys. So this is the lead director, game person, FLX. This is the interface guy between Slytherin, the publisher, and STB, the developer. And there was also a guy on the left here who's not in shot who was like asking them questions basically. And they released this roadmap, which I've just noticed I'm in the way. So we'll stick me up here, I guess. I'm not in the way. So basically, you're not getting China until 2027. Start with that, right? So 2025, there's going to be no new content in 2025 apparently. The last thing you're going to get in 2025 is ally AI bots in skirmish. So the game launched without allied AI, and 6 months after launch, end of the year, right, you're going to get allied bots in skirmish. Great. 2026, you're going to get 3 DLCs. They said the first one will be free, which is nice. And essentially, they're going to add a US allied spec, and they said it might be a nation or group of nations. And then, so this guy said that, and then this guy was like nodding when he said group of nations. So we can assume it's not Britain. And they said it will come on a new map that will have lots of water and amphibious stuff. So group of nations is probably going to be the Baltic nations, right? Because they're already in the campaign, so they're the easiest thing to release. I don't think it's going to be Britain, guys. If it was, there wouldn't be an American on the front of it. And Britain is a new faction, right? Whereas this is a one specialization, basically, something like that. They didn't specify how many would be in this. Anyway, they said that would be announced on December 9th, which is 2 weeks from today. And I'll cover that as well when it happens, so you can subscribe if you want. It's probably time to thank the generous channel joiners. Generously joiner in the channel. They get their names on the screen. They get the videos early. Get members exclusive videos. One join at the lowest levels worth 2,000 views, so if you're feeling bad about your ad block, it's a great way to support the channel. Otherwise, please just like the video. It makes YouTube recommend it to more people. So, US allied spec, that's what they were speaking about. And then they said they said that we can't necessarily say when within 2026 you're going to get these. And they might not be in order. They said that as well. So, okay. 69% positive today. Then there'll be a Russian specialization. And then there'll be an American specialization and some new units added to Russia. So in 2026, you're going to get 3 DLCs. The first one's free. The other 2, they said, we don't know yet, which is code for you'll have to pay for it. We just don't want to tell you yet. 2027, you will finally get China, and you'll be like, are you sure that's China? Yes. Somebody sent me the zoomed in version of it, which honestly I should have got ready I really should have got ready beforehand. This is very bad. I'll just do a quick edit here. Just do a quick edit here. Somebody sent me it. Oh man, this is really bad. I gotta do a quick edit here. Somebody sent me it. It is China, bro. Trust me. I can feel the viewer retention going down as we speak. As we speak. Here it is. I found it. For those three of you who have a long enough attention span to wait 20 seconds, because this is the full image. Because, look, right? And then this is the full image, and you may have noticed this is a Chinese tank, so there's obviously going to be China. And they said new faction with deck customization, new biome and war theater. Sorry, new campaign. So there's going to be a new campaign, and it's presumably going to be Americans versus China, and a new theater, which is presumably going to be Taiwan, because these guys, they the reason this game is so popular is because, well, they basically made it about the Ukraine war. I mean, they did. We can pretend otherwise, but that's basically what happened. And now they're going to do it about Taiwan, so they're banking on a Taiwan war happening, I suppose. Give it 2 years. I mean, given the way things are going, it wouldn't surprise me. And then they said specialization DLC number 4 in 2027 is going to be a Russian allied spec, and that kind of made me think because Russia. I mean, no offense, guys, Russia doesn't really have many allies apart from China, which is obviously going to be this one. It's like the BRICS countries, right? And presumably it's not going to be Brazil, so maybe it'll be Iran or North Korea. Those are my guesses, right? They also spoke about, actual features coming out. So in 2026, you'll get the ability to save the game in campaign. Whoa! Incidentally, a lot of people got banned from the official Discord for spamming a this. Loads of people were spamming this, and then they all got banned. so, so there you go. Yeah, a bunch of people got banned. He said it was about 20. A few messages below that, and including Lil Bad, which apparently got banned. But yeah, so it's weird because like I'm reading this and I'm thinking this is terrible. But you look at Steam, and these guys really like it. And we're here to report the news. We're impartial. I'm not going to tell you what to think. 69% of you apparently really liked this roadmap. I mean, do let me know what you think so I can get an idea of. Because obviously, my fans are the bestest peoples in the universe, and they're definitely not all mentally ill like me. And so we'll obviously get the bestest opinions in the comment section. I could be so much better at this, oh my gosh. Anyway, probably going to be Iran or North Korea because Russia has no friends. I mean, it's not going to be India or Brazil, is it? What else is in BRICS? What's S? South Africa. I'd be surprised, mate. Anyway, save games. You're going to get in 2026 the ability to save in the campaign, which, I mean, doesn't really matter to us, does it? Maybe somebody who's just got the game in 2026. And they're also moving the basically the reason there's so many cheaters is because the game is client side in terms of so you have a server, right, and then you have the clients off the server. Your PC is a client, and essentially most games, especially strategy games, most of the calculations will be on the server. Broken Arrow is done on the client as if it was a shooty game, a first-person shooter. The only advantage of doing it that way is because it makes it faster. But what it means is that your client, or the cheater who you are facing against, of nebulous origin, obviously we don't discriminate here, but presumably he's going to be very happy in early 2027. He could just tell the computer, he could just tell the server, yeah, bro, my tank should go 5 million kilometers an hour and I should have infinite income. And the server just goes, okay, buddy, I trust you. Whereas in most strategy games, the calculation happens on the server, and you say, I should have infinite income, and the server says, fuck off, and then bans you. So they're basically doing it. I mean, this, honestly, I make video games. They're not very good. I haven't released one on Steam yet, but I've made a multiplayer game. Having to rewrite the entire network architecture to switch from client to server authority is huge. I'm surprised they're bothering. It's you might as well rewrite the whole game at that point. Depending on your engine, the engine I use it's basically a decision you have to make at the start of development. Then they said we're going to add replays, and they put that twice because right now the game doesn't have any like proper logs It just doesn't save any of the information. Basically, the way replays work, guys, is that it doesn't just record your screen or anything. It's essentially a text file, and it'll say at time 1 second, this unit moved here. At time 1.5 seconds, this unit shot this unit. At time 2 seconds, this unit died, right? And so when you watch the replay, it's essentially just playing all those orders out on the map. And that's why a replay file would be very, very small. So Wano has this feature. If you don't know what Wano is, the guy who sorry, I'm just getting up the replay files. This guy used to work for a company called Eugen Systems, and most of the development team used to play Eugen Systems games, right? What happened was they sued the company. A bunch of them left and sued the company, and he left the company. I don't know if he was part of the lawsuit. Anyway, Eugen went on to make Wano, and these guys went on to make Broken Arrow. So there is a certain amount of bad blood between these studios, but that's why the games are so similar. He used to work for the company that makes Wano. Anyway, this is a replay file from a 40-minute game in Wano, right? It's a 40-minute game and it's less than 2 MB because it's literally just a list of instructions, right? If I open it in Notepad, I mean, it's just kind of gobbledygook because it's interpreted by the game, but it's basically just a list of instructions. So they need to first write down everything that's happening during the game because that doesn't currently happen. And then they can make a replay to interpret those instructions. So yeah, it's going to take them a while. Apparently, sometime in 2026. That theoretically that could take them just over a year, right? Anyway, new multiplayer maps of variants. So it's going to be like, the same map but rotated a bit and stuff. Loitering ammunition. Somebody told me that I should point out that the correct name of this is loitering munition, not loitering ammunition. I mean, okay. They did announce this 2 weeks before it came out. So anyway, loitering munitions, basically it's a drone, right? I mean, that's the way they were describing it. He said it's a drone. I mean, it's not just that. Essentially, and these exist, right? You can shoot an artillery shell and then a parachute will fly out of it and it'll just hang there. And it'll just hang there in the air for as long as possible, and it's got a little sensor on it and it's just waiting for a tank or a civilian vehicle, because they can't tell the bloody difference, right? It's waiting for a vehicle to pass under it and then it will just shoot into it and blow it up. And those have been around for a while, but they said they're going to add them to the game. Like Warner doesn't have those, for example, even though, well, I mean, there is something in the game that is kind of like that, but anyway. Then they said they'd add co-op campaign, so you can play the campaign in co-op. The new Chinese campaign in 2 years, apparently, it's going to be in co-op. And a spectator mode, which requires the replays, because it's a similar kind of thing. The spectator should just be receiving these instructions and interpreting it. Then they said quality of life improvements, which apparently are going to take 2 years to finish, but they kept stressing these aren't in order and so on. But you see, this is released content, so what we got in 6 months is penalty for leavers, a surrender vote, and easy anti-cheat, and that took them 6 months. And they said this will take them to by the end of the year. They said a couple weeks by the end of the year. Now, like, this guy's French, right? French people have a very nice work culture where, they're not really going to be working Christmas Day, are they? So realistically, that has to happen within the next month. And most people take this week off, at least in Europe. I know Americans have this thing where they don't go on holiday. They get paid more as a result, I suppose. Anyway, so it's probably going to come out the week before the Christmas week. That's when I would assume, or the week before that. So the ability to have allied AI bots on your team took them 6 months. So they said, they're going to update the victory screen. They're going to add the ability to report people after the end of the game, because apparently they spoke a lot about this. And there was a Q&A session as well, so I'll cover what they said in that, because obviously you can read this yourself, so that's the value added, right? Battle chatter expansion for better situation awareness. I don't think they mentioned this. I don't remember them mentioning this. I don't know what that means. Basically, your guy is going to be like, I'm pinned, or whatever. What do they shout? Get out in 10 seconds, not 10 minutes. Over and over again. Improved communication marker system. So those pings on the map presumably are going to get better. Access to chat during the preparation phase. And at the end of the game, end of the game chat's going to be very funny because that's just when everybody starts flaming each other. Preparation phase chat, I agree with. I think I agree with both. But this one's actually useful, and this one's just pure trolling. You right? I cannot believe this isn't in the game. You cannot select an enemy unit to view its stats. You can't do that. And given that you can get the same helicopter with anti-air missiles, anti-ground missiles, anti-tank missiles, anti-infantry missiles, or just a mix of everything, and it's the same helicopter, you basically got no way of telling apart from you zoom in on the bloody thing and you look at the pylons and you try and work out if that's a Stinger or a Hellfire. So apparently, sometime after they've done all these other things, although they said it's not necessarily in order, you will be able to select a unit and view its stats. 69%. Look, this doesn't lie. These are real people. These are real people. They. You guys love this update. You love this roadmap. You're loving it. Anyway, units panel's gonna get better. Units UI improvements. The line of sight tool in this game is absolutely garbage, so it's nice to see that they're going to fix that. You'd think that'd be a bit more important, but they kept saying it's not in order, it's not in order. You currently can't play skirmish offline. If you you can be playing the game. I've seen a lot of screenshots of this. People just playing against AI, and then it just says you've been disconnected. It's like what? So, wow. Weapon range visual. This is another thing. You can't tell how far. If you use the LOS tool when you selected a unit, it doesn't tell you how far the range is. So 69% positive. The minimap's going to get better. I don't really use it, so okay. And prevent label overlap. So if you've got like a supply unit with the truck right behind, it can be hard to select them. Wano has a feature where they would just separate themselves out, which is on by default. I have it switched off actually, but I assume they will add that option. There was also a Q&A session, which I shall now begin reading from. So they said this is going to be announced on December 9th. It's not going to come out on December 9th, but it's going to be announced on December 9th. And they specifically said nation or group of nations. So I think it's the Baltic Bros, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, because they're already in the game, in the campaign, so they don't have to do too much. And so, like, why wouldn't it be that? And they said there's going to be some water involved, so there's water in that part of the world. New faction is this is just obviously going to be China. It's just so obvious. I mean, I showed you that screenshot earlier, right? This is a Chinese tank. This is probably going to be Iran or North Korea. One of the questions that was because they were taking questions from the chat, and I'll admit they ignored the really spicy ones, right? Because my first question will be, this plays like an early access game. Why did you charge $50 for this game and release it as a finished title when basic features such as the ability to save the game or replay the game or spectate the game or surrender why none of that was in on launch? So why did you release this as a full price game? But 69% of you are very happy, so I don't know. You're just such happy chappies. I just need to cheer up, right? Stop complaining. The guy said there's been an 84% player drop in 5 months, and they were like, "Oh, it's not a big deal because people get bored and they leave." And that is the case. It does happen for most games. The player count does go down quite a bit, but how are you gonna make it through to early 2020? That could be any time in the first 6 months. How are you gonna make it a year and a half from now with a player base has lost 84% of its players in 5 months? Are you? Is this gonna happen? Um, but yeah, they were really trying to downplay that. Actually, they mentioned it a lot. The other thing they said was that 50% of the people who bought the game played multiplayer, and they were expecting it to be 10%. I was also expecting it to be 10% because this guy told me he was expecting it to be 10%, and I believed him. People asked about 1v1s and stuff, and they said we might add one more mode it might be 3v3, and then he spent about 5 minutes talking about why he doesn't want to add another mode, and it's basically because 5v5 is great for new players, and if they split the player base, then the modes, the queue times will be longer. Now, if you played Broken Arrow recently, you'll know that the queue times can be like 15 to 45 minutes. I don't know what the hell they're doing because it has 3 times as many players as Wano, and in Wano I can get in a match within like less than 5 minutes. So I'm not sure what's going on there. But if they split the queue, then yes, there'll be fewer people. The 1v1 question was sort of kind of glossed over. They said 1v1 leads to dedicated players. It wasn't glossed over, he did address it. He said 1v1 leads to very dedicated players, but it's not so good for new players. And so well, you'd think if you wanted to add anything, it would be 1v1, right? Because the new players can stay in the 5v5 and we can play, as true gamers can play in the 1v1. But they said 3v3. So there were questions about modding. Apparently, there is mod support in the game. There's something because Lua is a scripting language, and apparently there is a Lua interface which allows you to put new models into the game. This is the first I've heard about it, but apparently it is possible. I don't believe there's a Steam Workshop for this game. Oh no, there is. It's just for the yeah, there is. So you know, there is apparently modding. December 9th for this, and somebody asked about weekly updates. This was pretty funny, and they said there was too much negativity surrounding the weekly updates, and if things become more positive, we'll resume the weekly updates. I'm paraphrasing here, but they did say no more weekly updates because of too much negativity, and then they said hopefully things can become more positive, something like that. And then they said, and then we can think about restarting the weekly updates. So that is a paraphrase, but it's basically what they said. So that, what can I say? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I'm the reason there's no more weekly updates. Maybe too negative. I'm trying to be positive. 69% of you think it's great that you're going to get your first major DLC in 2027 in 2 years. Apparently, that's great. It's still going up. Still going up. What do I know? What do I just report the news? So if you're interested in Wano and stuff, description, etc. Something new happens, I'll let you know. Presumably the next new thing is going to be December 9th because they're not doing the weekly updates because I'm too negative. And they're cracking on with this Chinese DLC, which is going to take 2 years. So I'll see you around.